You come home from a rough day, and as you enter your home, you are filled with heaviness, burden, overwhelm, and a relentless blah. Your home just doesn't support you. The kids are running around and there is chaos. It doesn't feel like home. There is love and family and all the right things, but something still just doesn't feel right and you're not sure what it is. Have you been there? I know I have. But what if instead I told you as you entered your home, it could be filled with purpose? You could be filled with breath and space, joy, productivity, and you can be the mom that you know you were created to be. I want to welcome you to your Purpose-Driven Home, a weekly video training series on how you can create a purpose-filled home beyond just interior design. You can create a home that is lighter, life-giving, joyful, bigger, and more meaningful. Because whether you believe it or not, Mama, you are so worthy of that life. I want to welcome you. I am your host, Becky Bunnell, owner of Luca Haven Design, which is an interior design company, and I am so glad you are here. Welcome to your Purpose-Driven Home. Hello, friends. How are you today? I have missed you so much. After going live with you 40 days, I just couldn't stay away. So I would like to welcome you to your Purpose-Driven Home, which is a continuing video training series, but it's going to be weekly this time instead of the daily like I was doing before. And it is just here to inspire you to fill your home with purpose. You know, starting with interior design and your environment and how that affects you, but also looking at, what are you filling your calendar with? What are you purposely bringing into your, rhythms and routines for your family, and taking a look at that. I've been told we kind of run our house a little bit different, and we have some different aspects of the way we live that are very purposeful. And I know that when you can tie purpose to your home style, to your environment, to your schedule, to how you're raising your kids, that it just gives your life that breath, that deeper meaning, and just this authentic joy that can be cultivated in your home. And I want that for all of you. So I have come up with this weekly series. You can even start this series on your phone in your car and just listen. There's not really a need to do the video. I'm really trying to make sure that you can watch this on video if you want to just get to see my smiling face, or if you want to listen to it in your car. I want that for however you want to come to this training. So this first episode of your Purpose-Driven Home is going to be all about what are those trends in interior design that are going on right now for 2022 and carrying into 23, and how can we purposefully bring them into our homes? Because we don't want to necessarily fill our homes with trends. We would be redoing our house, every 2 years. To refresh those trends. So how do we purposefully and strategically bring those trends into our home to give nod to them, but not overwhelm our homes with them? So being super purposeful in them. And I would love to give you action steps into how you can bring each of these trends in. So without further waiting, we're going to start our training series on what are those top 5 trends. The first trend I have for you is there is this color palette refresh going on. In past years, we've seen a lot of whites and a lot of like the cooler type colors, the light blues. And there is a shift going on right now to a more moody color palette. We've seen the blacks in the interior design industry coming into play beyond just the windows. We're seeing, black trim, for instance, but also going beyond that and getting into your warmer neutrals, so your browns or your creams, and then your also more muted colors of the greens and the blues. So going more moody or more muted, darker color palette going on in the industry. And then on the flip side of that, you have that going on, but you also have this bright boldness going on. So a little bit of a nod to the 70s style. Leading into the 80s, you're having this brightness, this boldness, and patterns going on as well. So whether it's through your art or your textiles like your pillows, bringing in some bright, bold patterns, or maybe you are all in and there are accent walls going on, painting your doors and trim a bright, bold color is something that is trending right now. So how can you purposely bring this into your home? Without overwhelming your home with this? Take a look at your spaces and which space really kind of could use that refresh. And the great thing about this trend is it's just paint. So it's easy to do, a cheaper option to do for a refresh. So look at your areas, and maybe there's this place in your home where you could paint your trim that more muted, really moody, maybe a dark green instead of a black. So a lot of people are doing the black, but maybe stay ahead of this a little bit and choose a different color. Maybe it's a really darker muted blue, and paint your trim that color and your doors in a space, and see how it just creates this intrigue about the space. So that is the action step for this one. Where can you bring in a color palette refresh into your home? You can also do this by simply updating pillows. Pillows are another great option to do that's not super costly, and bring that in. If you want to go for the bright and bold, pillows are a great place to bring in some more brightness into your place. So if you're more on that side of the trend, I would suggest pillows. If you're more on the moody colors, you'd maybe painting your trim in a door, or maybe you have a room that you just really want to refresh and you're painting all the walls a more moody color palette. So trend number 2 that I have for you is keeping it curvy. So last year we started to see more curved couches coming into play, just the softer corners coming into play in our furniture. Now it's extending even past that, and it's going into the architecture of homes. So where you used to have really squared off walkways or doorways, we're creating more arches, creating that softness, the vintage feel, getting back to our roots a little bit, and bringing those arches in. And it's still staying around with the furniture, right? You're seeing those kind of more curved, cornered couches, or even the really arched couches, to create a softness in your accent chairs as well. And it kind of creates this like little hug, right? In your space, instead of being so squared off. And so the way to bring this trend into your home in a purposeful way is to look at your accent chairs. Accent chairs are a great piece. They're not the most expensive piece of furniture in your living room, but they're something that's easy to update with the trends. So if you have more of the boxy accent chairs right now in your living room, maybe take a look at some of the curved ones that are out there, and then layer in some textures as well. So wood accents with the fabric choice of that chair, and bring in these little hugs into your living room. I just always imagine being wrapped in a curved chair, just being surrounded by it. So you're getting that hug, you're feeling more comfortable in the space. So look at your accent chairs. How can you maybe update those to bring this trend into your home? And I've also actually had this trend in a design I just did of a girl's room. So we've done some walls that we added in arches, and it just brings a uniqueness to the room. So I'm really excited to share those with you soon when that room is completed. The third trend that we have is kind of going hand in hand with what I said about the chair and bringing in wood and a different texture of the textile of the chair is layers of texture, layers of interest into our spaces. So not the minimalist is still here, but I think a lot of us want a little bit more interest than your traditional minimalistic style. And so this trend is layers in a multitude of different ways, right? So we're layering vintage with new. We have these new pieces in our spaces, but then we'll put in a vintage piece that maybe we've refreshed. And it just creates that interest towards that piece. Or we're mixing styles. So the transitional style that I think is still here is mixing the global patterns that we have, the vintage global type patterns, with modern lines. So it's mixing those two styles together to create a whole new style. So when you can mix styles together that don't fight with one another, but that really can go hand in hand, you're creating an intriguing new look for yourself. That's your own unique way of looking at your home. Then also you're looking at layering on your walls and your ceiling a little differently. So wallpaper is coming back. I know I was checking out wallpaper the other day, and wallpaper with, velvet enhancements to it, or a little glitter. I have girls, so I just kind of go towards the shimmery wallpaper when picking out stuff for their rooms. But the wallpaper that actually has a 3D effect to it, and even your standard wallpaper is coming back. Plaster on walls is coming back because it creates this unique texture instead of your really smooth wall surface. And then looking at your ceiling, there's trim millwork going on the ceilings to create an intriguing vintage feel, but an updated one. Adding beams to the ceilings as well is a trend that is here. So then on top of that, it's the textile layering, which is usually what we think of when we think of layering, right? It's, the different textures of pillows and blankets. Tufted leather is coming back. So how can you marry together and layer these textiles in a purposeful way? So how can you bring this one home? I would say for this one, have some fun with it. And the best place to have some fun with trends going on is the half bathroom. Because it is a smaller footprint, it is really easy to refresh. And so have fun with it. Maybe you're adding in a unique trim pattern on the ceiling. Maybe you're doing a wood herringbone ceiling with some really fun wallpaper, and then a moody trim on the bottom. Just trying to pull it together so that you're bringing in a lot of different trends, and then maybe you have this vintage vanity in the half bath. So you can really have a lot of fun in your half bath to bring in different layers of texture, of styles, vintage versus new. There's a lot of things you can do in a small space, and it's not that expensive to do because it is such a small space. You really need a vanity and a toilet and a lighting fixture, right? A mirror. So there's not much to it, but you can have a lot of fun so that you can try things out before you decide if you like something or not and bring it into a bigger space. So take a look at your half bath and bring in layers of texture and interest to bring this trend home in a more purposeful way. The fourth trend I have for you is really the trend of local, sustainable, and organic materials, furniture, looking at it in a different way with more purpose behind it. The supply chain has really driven this one past what it used to be in the past, because it's hard to get furniture nowadays in a timely manner. So a lot of people are looking to those local craftsmen, that build the furniture, that use their hands to really sculpt the furniture and bring it to life. There's more meaning behind it, and that's what people are looking for. They want that more small town, meaningful feel brought into their home, and people are caring about the environment more. So looking at the materials that we're bringing into our home and how can they be more sustainable for our environment, looking at reclaimed. So reclaimed beams for the ceiling is a trend right now. Refreshing vintage antiques, for instance, is a trend. So that way you're not waiting on furniture; it's already there, and you're just updating it and refreshing it to fit your style of home. So there's that. And then there's this biophilic design, which is really practicing of connecting people with nature in their environments. So it's going beyond just bringing in your potted plant, which was a trend, has been a trend for a few years, and it's creating plant walls. It's, how can I make this seamless transition between my home and the outside? So it's skylights, it's window walls, bringing in a lot of natural light, and then even those ones that open up completely to the outside. In Michigan, we have a little bit of trouble being able to do this because, if you don't have a screen, then bugs get in your house. But there are ways by doing a skylight or creating a plant wall. How can you become closer with nature? Because nature in itself is healing. And so you're really finding these more organic materials being brought into the home to create that connection always. So action step for this one: how do you purposely bring home the trend of local, sustainable, organic materials? And I would say head to your favorite vintage marketplace. I know the downtown market used to have some vintage marketplaces that were open. Easttown has a lot of fun ones. Just check around to local stores and find a vintage piece that you just love and bring it home with you. Maybe you're refreshing it to give it a little bit more of a modern twist to it. Or maybe you're just leaving it as is and you're bringing it into your space. So go on a road trip. Go on a hunt for that piece that you can bring home that came from a local store that you're bringing home, a vintage piece. Maybe you're refreshing it, maybe you're leaving it the same, but it's really bringing home that old small town feel. And it just, for me at least, it brings a sense of relaxation and calm. I don't know necessarily why that is. It just really brings that into my heart whenever I do that. So go head out to your vintage marketplace and find a piece to bring this trend home purposefully. And then the final trend we have is by far my favorite trend. It is kind of what Luca Haven design is based off of. And that is well design is a trend that is here. And this is like really understanding the connection that we have to our environment and how that environment can be healing, both, with our health, our productivity, our mental state. It can be a place that healing happens. There is a connection between our environment and our health, and our environment and our productivity, and our environment and our mental state. It brings it all together. So this trend is really taking an intentional look at our environments, at our homes, and how can they serve us better? How can they create wellness for us? So within this trend, you're seeing things like more calming, Zen-like atmospheres, specifically in the bathroom and bedrooms. It is the creation of meditation rooms. Those are becoming more and more popular, where in the past they were not. Yoga studios in your home. How can you bring in this Zen calmness to really support you in your life? It's creating multifunctional spaces, right? Serving you in a different way. So maybe you love to read and you add a library to your dining room because that works for your family. Or you're adding what else? Maybe your guest room and your home office are the same. So you're really looking at your home a little bit differently, creating multifunctional spaces so that it serves you better, so that it creates wellness in your home for you, whether it's physical or mental or spiritual. Maybe it's adding a smoothie station into your kitchen because you have smoothies every day. So you have your blender right by a little fridge that has all the fresh fruits. And maybe it's kind of right next to a window or a door that leads outside to your garden. And so you're really creating this efficiency between your environment and your wellness. And then also, you're bringing back in the biophilic design and bringing your outdoors into your space. And so you're looking at more outdoor living. How can you easily transition from inside to outside and having your outdoor environment support you even more? So adding furniture to it, making it really beautiful so that you spend more time there, because it is in nature, like I said, that you can find healing as well. So it's bringing in the biophilic design into your home and your outdoor spaces to create that wellness design, to create environments where we can physically, mentally, and spiritually thrive in our homes. That is by far my favorite trend. So how can you bring this one purposefully into your home? And this one, there's a lot of things that you could do. But where I want you to start is taking what I call treetop time. I got this from someone at my old job, that you just take time and just be and just reflect. So take that treetop time and assess your home. What would help bring more wellness into your home for you, for your family? Is there a short-term project? And even look at what long-term projects where do you want to head in this wellness design, so that your home can support you. Find your zen. What is it for you specifically in your family? What are your goals and how can your home support them? And then maybe since it's summer, it's simply making your outdoor space more beautiful. So maybe you're adding lights to it, or you don't have any furniture, so you're getting a simple furniture set, making it more accessible to being outside. Well, it's still nice because we know Michigan does not have that nice weather for too long, and we just need to soak it in. And then maybe you're bringing it in with a longer term project of skylights in your home to bring in more natural light. So really just take that treetop time, figure out how you purposefully can bring in the trend of well design and having your home support you better. And then a short-term project, just making your outdoor space more beautiful this summer. But so those are the 5 trends. I hoped I helped you understand what they are and how you can bring them home. We'll run through them real quickly again. The first one being that color palette refresh, right? To more moody or the bright and bold. So 2 sides of the spectrum for that color palette refresh. Number 2 was keeping it curvy through curved furniture, but also curved architecture accents in your home. And then 3 was layers of texture and interest. So layers of the texture and the interest, meaning mixing different styles and vintage and new and wallpaper. So many things to that one. Just lots of layers to it. And number 4, looking at the local, sustainable, and organic materials. And number 5, which is that well design that we just talked about, and creating a home that serves you, because your environment, your space matters. I hope you have found this helpful and that you can bring some of these home, whatever ones kind of triggered you. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me or head to my website. I'll try to post some pictures also on my stories of some of these trends going on. I hope you enjoyed your first episode of your Purpose-Driven Home, and that you'll join me next week, Wednesdays. These will be coming out, and share on your feed. Whenever these inspire you, I would love to hear what part inspired you in the comments, and then share them on your feed because we are all worthy of a purpose-driven home. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here, friends. I hope you enjoyed your time as much as I have. And if you'd love to continue the conversation, please join me over at Instagram or my website, Luca Haven Design. I look forward to seeing you there and continuing to discuss things to create a purpose-driven home. I look forward to our time next week, but until then, I hope you all have a purpose-filled week.